dad from Zuni, he used to do a lot of farming, and he had we always had a small garden, and he would have me go outside and pick mint, and he explained that was really good for it just added more flavor to the food, and he really enjoyed having that. So I'd go right outside, and we'd have a lot of mint there, and I'd just pick it.
And I guess my family was pretty well to do, so they had people working for them. So we had alfalfa, we had corn, melon, everything else. So when they're ripe, I guess they used to go over to the mountain, camp the ship rock, and sell their products, and in return we'll also bring back like peaches and all kinds of stuff, and come back. It would take like about a 3-day trip, and that's how a lot of things were done at that time. But then further on we started only having alfalfa, but now we don't grow that anymore, so there's nothing. The land is just there now, and the same with the whole community. They used to be like alfalfa, people growing their own crops and everything else, and now all you see is dust bowls at all the places where they used to have gardens and things like that.
So most of our foods were natural, and there was a lot of farming in the area, so if we didn't have it in our little garden, we'd go and we'd trade with other people for tomatoes and squash and pumpkin and potatoes. And I remember when we were little kids, we went trick-or-treating, and they gave us fresh food, garden food.
Oh yeah.
Apples and even like fresh baked homemade pies, apples and stuff like that. So it was nice.
So where does Navajo tea come from now? You can buy it from Ellis Tanner's or TNR in those pre-processed tea bags.
Yeah.
When a long time ago you could just pick your tea, put it in a tea bundle, and then boil it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And,
My
yeah.
grandma does.
And then
Probably like a lot of salads and protein too, some meat to help me out with like recovery and stuff like that. I try to keep really healthy. I was raised to not allow to drink Coke. I still can't drink Coke right now. I drink a lot of water.
We used to all eat out of one dish.
That's one thing we forgot to add is that we don't use utensils when we eat traditional food. Always like bread with soup.
When you're eating something like that, the mutton, eat this and it balances it out. Especially if you have cheese. Because it's really rich.
My mom used to always say, leave some of that cha in there, because it's it's medicine.
Yeah.
It's good for your stomach.
And I always think about that, like religious beliefs, how they only have to eat like certain amounts, like certain food and stuff like that, and schools don't really provide that kind of like view of things. They just trying to like serve you so you eat and get enough nutrition. And a lot, like with vegans and vegetarians and stuff like that, they don't have like a choice. They have to like just nitpick at the sides and stuff.
Sick from it. I don't know if people regularly check the schools. Some of the schools serve very good food, and others don't. It doesn't. It's not the same across the board. There needs to be some kind of law, and now like recently they're getting rid of the soda pops out of the machines. They're putting in juice and water, so they're finally realizing and waking up to that.
And I think it's based on the communities too, like their budgets, on how, if they have enough money to get the kind of food that they should be getting. And I think it's also based on how the foods are all processed too. Like the nutrition of it, some of it can lack the nutrition because it's really processed, and some of it's not even good for your body. And then compared to what we eat at home, it's much more healthy because we get it from a grocery store. Something like that.
Point to the corn cake. This is what we have. We have corn cake. It's when it's a traditional dish. When a young girl becomes a woman, they cook this in the ground.
All night.
And then We have the blue
cornmeal,
corn,
yeah.
blue cornmeal pancake bread. And then we have kneel down bread, which is made of corn, and it's also roasted. And then we have a tamale, and it had some meat in there, some corn, and some chili. And we garnished it with some cedar.
The ground is baking the ground, just like we do with the sheep head. And then there's certain parts of the sheep head you don't eat for reasons, whether, I'll give you an example, if you don't eat the tip of the sheep or goat's tongue, otherwise you end up stuttering.
Our food traditions go back more than 500 years when we were all by ourselves over here. And we sustained ourselves, and we still have many of those foods. Just like we still have our language, our ceremonies, our way of life, our own hairstyles, our clothing, everything we still maintain on the reservation.